everyone. Today we're going to talk about the thyroid stress connection. So we recently ran a poll in this forum, and we found that 55% of our members strongly agree that there is a connection between their thyroid symptoms and their stress levels. About 33% of people agreed somewhat. You may have noticed that when you are under stress, that your thyroid symptoms worsen. But we are here to talk about more than your current life stress, right? So often when we talk about stress, emotional stress, we are talking about current life stress. And if you remember the image that I posted here earlier this week in the forum, the image of the iceberg, right? You can think of an iceberg. The tip of the iceberg sits above the waterline, but what's below the waterline is much greater. And so what I want you to understand is that current life stress is like that tip on the iceberg. It's the little bit that we can see, that we are aware of, that we feel. But underneath that waterline sits a huge accumulation of stress. This is the stress that is held in your subconscious mind, right? Your conscious mind is aware of that stress at work. Your conscious mind is aware of that financial stress, that time stress, that relationship stress, or whatever it is. But every current source of stress has associations to stressors that are hidden, right? Stressors under the waterline. What are these stresses? This is the accumulated stress that you carry from your entire life. That is all held in the subconscious mind. You may not feel it, you aren't aware of it, and many people often tell me, oh, yes, that happened to me, but I don't think about that. I'm not focusing on that. You're talking about your conscious mind. True, your conscious mind is not back with what happened to you when you were 7 or when you were 22 or when you when you were 39, right? But your subconscious mind, for your subconscious mind, there is no sense of time. For your subconscious mind, these things, when you were bullied, when you were 7, or when your parents split when you were 12, or whatever that is, these things have never ended. They are still present in your subconscious mind because you still are every age and every stage that you have ever been. That may be news to you. So for the people who have taken my quiz, right, if you go onto my website, TCNeuralRetraining.Solutions, you can sign up to take the quiz. The quiz is there to show you, to help you to see, am I the person who has a significant level of accumulated stress, right? This is important to know. If you have chronic health issues, if you have thyroid issues, this is important to recognize because this is something that no one else is talking about, and that by resolving this accumulation of stress under the waterline, the hidden stressors, we can accelerate our healing, right? We can optimize our body's potential to heal itself. You may remember, right? Fight, flight, freeze. This is what we call the stress response. When we are stuck in a stress response, we cannot heal. Because when we are in a stress response, the body is gearing up to deal with an emergency, and it inhibits all healing, all restorative functions of the body. We have to be in the rest, digest, and heal response to heal. When you have a health condition and it has become chronic, right, you can think of that as a hanging healing. Healing is not completing, right? We are stuck. How do we get unstuck? Well, medications and cleanses and detoxes and changing our diet, right? All these things that you've probably already tried, right? But when we are working against a huge backlog of accumulated stress, it's like a weight, right? That's keeping us down. We have to resolve these layers of accumulated stress before anything that we are doing right now, the supplements you are taking or the detoxes you are doing, can work in the best way, in the most favorable way. I hope that's making sense to you. And so this is how we have to turn things around. But you may be thinking, that's impossible, right? How do you resolve a lifetime of accumulated stress in a timely fashion, right? We don't want this to take 5 years. Yes, I understand. And because we now have a new generation of tools, we are able to turn this all around. And it can be done within weeks to months, right? This requires a brand new tool because you may be familiar with some of the tools that are available for resolving past stresses, right? Traumatic events from the past. These include things like EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprogramming. You may be familiar with EFT or tapping, where we're tapping on acupressure points, right? These methods were developed in the 1980s or the 1990s, and they were the best methods that we had for helping the mind body to overcome the impact of stressful events. However, as I said, we have a new tool now. It's the next generation of these methods. I call it advanced neural retraining. And this is to distinguish it from basic methods of neural retraining. So if you think, oh, neural retraining, I've done that already, right? Most people are familiar with basic methods of neural retraining, which require that we repeat affirmations and scripts and movements or visualizations for hours upon hours every week for months and months and months and maybe even years. And that is a very long road, right? Because basic methods of neural retraining are trying to work through the conscious mind to try to affect a change in the subconscious mind. That's a long road, right? Especially if you are someone like me with a huge accumulated stress load. So with this new method, which is called the MAP method, we have a method that is less than 10 years old, so no one has heard about it. There are about 350 practitioners in the world, most of them outside of the United States. This is a method that is very gentle, very easy to do, and it goes deeper than the other methods I just described, EMDR and EFT among them. This is a method that works directly with the subconscious mind. It is not hypnosis. It is a meditative method, so you have your eyes closed, you're breathing slowly, deeply, and gently. You are working with a practitioner, either live in live sessions or in a recorded session that you can do watching a video. It harnesses the power of the subconscious mind to utilize these associations, right? Between current life stress, something that's happening in your life right now that is stressful, or that is a trigger for anxiety, and the subconscious mind is an associative mind, so it finds the connections between the current life stress and previous events that have made us feel the same way. This is a boon for us, right? Because it means that we can neutralize batches of memories at the same time. This is why it is faster, goes deeper, and is more impactful, right, than the methods that you may have tried. This is a method that has the potential to resolve a significant part of the accumulated stress that you carry. Many of us don't feel this stress, right? Because we habituate to it. We habituate to the level of stress that we are accustomed to. But most of the time when I do a session for clients, the most common feedback I get is, I feel lighter. It's just what they say spontaneously at the end of a session. And so it's like we didn't realize we were carrying this heavy backpack of stress. But when we work with even one topic in a session, we feel lighter. It's like something in us is aware, can sense that something we were carrying has now been lifted from us. And that's an amazing thing, because when we can do this enough times, and it does take multiple sessions, right? Because we're talking about a huge accumulation. So it is through the cumulative effect of multiple sessions on different topics, right, that we can start to feel first emotionally better, and then mentally better, and finally physically better, right? Because as we lift these emotional and mental burdens, as we unburden ourselves from this stress overload we've been under, those natural healing capabilities come back online. And so now the body is able to do what it wasn't able to do before, heal itself. I hope that sounds intriguing to you. If you have questions, please put them in the comments below. All right.